we're going to move into the next topic, which is degree progression. So a few things about getting toward graduation that you need to understand and understanding about your education here at UW-Superior. And the first thing is a lot of folks don't really understand how they get billed. And Charlie touched on this a little bit already, but understanding the difference in how you're billed between on-campus classes and online classes makes a big difference. If you are an undergraduate on-campus student, so all your classes are on campus, you can take between 12 and 18 credits and pay the same price. So once you pay for 12, you basically have 6 more credits you can take at no additional cost, unless one of those classes might have a lab fee, like an art class or a science class or something like that. But the tuition component, there's no additional cost to taking up to an additional 6 credits in that situation. The difference is, if you take online classes, that is billed per credit. So if you're taking 12 credits on campus and then you choose to add an online class, you're going to pay extra for the online class. It is not part of the plateau. So online classes are always billed in a separate way than on-campus courses and have a per credit rate. The other thing to keep in mind, and again, Charlie talked about this briefly, but you're either going to be billed as a Wisconsin resident, as a Minnesota resident with reciprocity, so you want to be sure to look at your bill and ensure your reciprocity has applied, or you're going to be billed as a non-resident student with a non-resident surcharge, but be eligible generally, if you're a full-time student, for a non-resident tuition waiver, and you want to be sure that that's in your financial aid award and has applied to your bill. Online classes are billed per credit. It does not matter if you're Wisconsin non-resident, what your status is as far as residency. So then becomes the question, well, how many credits should I take? If I take 12, if I'm an on-campus student and I'm taking 12 and I can get, for the same price, 18 credits, I should take 18 credits, right? Well, maybe, maybe not. She's laughing up here. Sometimes 18 credits doesn't work for everybody. So part of that is determining what can I be successful with. Because if you decide just to take 18 credits and you fail 2 of your classes and you have to end up repeating them anyway, yeah, maybe you didn't pay for them, but now it's affecting your completion rate, it's affecting your GPA, and maybe caused you to not do as well in the 12 credits you did pass. So those are all things to consider, talk to your advisor about, think about the other circumstances in your life, and see what can I handle and be successful. Generally speaking, 120 credits is what you need to get a degree, at a minimum. Okay, so that's what degree is. What oftentimes, again, I think is something that doesn't get discussed with students is, if I want to graduate in 4 years, and a lot of students, come into college and they think, okay, a college degree, 4 years. If you take 12 credits a semester, you won't get to degree in 4 years. That's an average of 15 credits a semester. And that's if you don't mess around. That's if you just take and graduate with 120 credits. And I would venture a guess that most students don't, because you take a class maybe you don't really need, or you change your major, or you're doing a little exploratory stuff in the first year or 2. So it's important to try to keep up that average of 15 credits if you're attempting to get out in 4 years. So now you might be sitting there thinking, I wonder how many credits I've accrued, and where am I in this? And I haven't been taking 15 credits a semester, and I'm a little worried about this now. So what you can do is go out to your student center. If you click on other academic, there's a little drop-down box, and select advising report. You will pull up your personal advising report, and it will tell you, for the requirements for your particular degree, what you've satisfied and what you have not yet satisfied. Each one of these topics will open up and it will give you a list of those things. This is something you should always, as a student, have a good handle on. Where am I in relation to getting to degree completion? You should print this out. When you meet with your advisor to register for your classes for the upcoming semester, you should sit down and build a plan to get to graduation. Say, this is where I am, this is how I understand it, help me get there. What do I need to take what semester to get to degree? Which is what I was going to talk about next here, is making a plan to get to your degree. So part of that is, how many credits do I need to take each semester to get there in a timely manner, in the manner I want to get there. Sometimes you have required classes and they're not offered every semester. Or you have a class that you need to take prerequisites for. So you're ready to take this class and you realize you don't have one of the prereqs yet and you can't register for it. So building yourself a plan to get to degree will help to ensure that you take the classes you need in the order that they're offered so that it doesn't delay your plan to get to graduation. And then you might want to think about other things that could affect getting to degree in a timely manner. What if I want to do a study abroad? That's a great opportunity, but I might not be able to take 15 or 18 credits when I'm doing a study abroad. I might only be able to take 12. Do all of those credits fit into what I need? When's the best time in my career to do a study abroad? So to plan those things, what if I want to get an internship for a semester? What if it's an unpaid internship and I can't manage then with that internship to take more than 12 credits because then I won't be successful in my classes? That might slow me down a little bit. So I have to make up for it a different semester. If you're an education major and you need to student teach, that's a whole semester. It's 12 credits worth at the tail end, and you don't get to have a job while you're doing that. That is your job. So you got to plan for that. How am I going to get to degree and get to graduation in a timely manner? Then you have to start to think about, do I have enough financial aid to get to the end of my plan? There are certain types of financial aid that are offered that have limits on them. One is the Pell Grant. You can only receive a Pell Grant for 12 full-time semesters. So if you're a full-time student, 12 semesters would be 6 years. Seems like a long time, but you can't just go to school forever, endlessly, and continue receiving a Pell Grant without getting a degree. You need to get to degree. Wisconsin State Grant, same thing, it has a limit, it's even less of a limit, it's only 10 semesters worth. And then, probably more important than either one of those two things is really understanding the loan limits. There's a limit on the amount of loan you can take through the Department of Education each year based on your grade level. So a freshman can borrow so much, a sophomore so much, a junior, senior so much. Okay? These loan limits that are listed there are for dependent students. Okay, so there is a different level for independent students if you don't have to provide your parents' information on the FAFSA. So why am I talking about that? Well, here's the problem. There's an aggregate that you can borrow overall. And for a dependent undergraduate student, that's $31,000. So if you're borrowing and you don't think carefully about what you're borrowing every year, and you just say, well, financial aid offered me this, so I'm going to take it all, whether I really need it or not. I understand I got to pay it back someday, but I don't have to worry about it till then. Okay, that's probably not a good idea to make your decision that way anyway. But the other thing that it might affect you while you're in school is, if you borrow the maximum as a freshman, as a sophomore, as a junior, and again as a fourth-year senior, and you're not done with your degree, and you need to go a fifth year or a sixth year, after one semester of your fifth year, you've hit $31,000. You're done. You can't take any more student loans as a dependent undergraduate student. And we see more and more of that. Students haven't made a plan to get to their degree, but they run out of money, and then they start thinking about, how am I going to get to my degree? And by then it becomes pretty difficult because they don't have any lending power left. So it makes a big difference. A couple other quick things I want to mention before I hand this back over to Charlie is things to think about once you've made your plan to get to degree. How are my choices now going to affect me after graduation? So at this point you might be sitting there and thinking, Yeah, I have no idea how much I've borrowed to date, and I wonder where I am compared to that $31,000 mark, or if you're an independent student, it's $57,500. What do I do about that? Well, one thing you can do is to go to the National Student Loan Data System, and that's that first link. And there's a link to that right off of the financial aid website. You click on it and it will show what you've borrowed through the Department of Education to date. So you will have a sense of where you're at. Then you can take that number and you can go to studentaid.gov and plug it in. There's repayment calculator estimators. And you can plug it in and say, okay, if I have this much borrowed, what is that going to look like in a monthly payment for me when I graduate? There are multiple repayment plans. You can do different calculators, but that's how it will help you to determine, do I really need this money today? Because here's what it's going to do for me in the future. The last couple things on here quick are satisfactory academic progress. I just want to be sure everyone's aware of this. It's a policy, it's a federal regulation. Our institutional policy is listed on our website. Basically it says, we monitor how many credits you attempt and how many you successfully earn. So if you're dropping classes consistently after the 10th day of school, if you're consistently getting incompletes or Fs, your completion rate is going to go down. You're going to take 12 credits and only successfully complete 9. That's a 75% completion rate. Cumulative, over your entire career here, you need to keep your completion rate at 67% or higher, or you're going to be on financial aid suspension and not be able to receive financial aid. Also, for a 120 credit degree, you can't receive financial aid for more than 150% of that, which is 180 credits. So you start taking too many credits and messing around and not getting to your degree, we also have to cut you off from financial aid. So a couple of things to worry about with that. The very last thing, if you've completed the coursework for your program, so you're thinking, I haven't taken 180 credits yet and my completion rate is fine, I don't really have anything to worry about, I'm just going to hang out in school for another semester. And the registrar's office tells me that you've completed everything you need to complete for a degree, you can't continue to receive financial aid. So if you've essentially completed your degree and just chosen not to graduate, you cannot continue to receive financial aid. So, a few things to be aware of. Things change as far as loan limits, your financial aid award package. We still have the satisfactory academic progress policy. It applies to all degrees, graduate and undergraduate.